Hello. I was just watching my timer on my computer, just seeing about if it's recording or not. Well, I'm gonna make a lighter topic on this one, on this video. I know it's been there's been some deep controversial things I've been bringing forth a lot of different perspectives on the political side. Now I'm about to go back to some personal side. And I was looking at this video and I thought about this one person. And the person I'm going to do is about, again, and I try not to do too many videos on Dr. Umar Johnson, but it's just that some of the stuff he be doing is just. Now, in this video, he sounds very convincing, very good oracle speaker. He loves to talk about events in the past that connects with his birthday. And he's going to probably be making some good, strong points about child development and some of the things that go on with the social system and child development. But I'm going to show you two videos, and but the second video, I'm still trying to figure out why is he such a narcissist when it comes to women. Anton Daniels recorded this video, but I'm going to first record it. The most intellectual side of how people fall for Dr. Umar Johnson. Very elegantly power-driven, Pan-Africanist, whatever. Pan-Africanist person. But I'll give you two sides of Dr. Umar. Okay, let's show his appealing side. How some people can be sucked up in what he's doing.
On the planet all by ourselves for at least 250,000 years. Nobody else. If we don't leave Africa, white people never evolve. If we don't leave Africa, Chinese never evolve. If we don't leave Africa, you never get an East Indian, you never get a Native American. The African is the mother and father of all human groups. Those groups come from us. They are in our DNA. And this is indisputable now. We've had the Harvard Genome Project. We've had all kinds of research, black and white research, that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that Africa is the cradle of civilization, that the black woman is the mother of all civilization, and the black man is the father of all civilization. There is no humanity without us. Every group on the planet comes from us. We're the only people who came from God. Everybody else came from us. Which is interesting because when you get into the religious conversations, and as Pan-Africanists, we don't take no issue with religion. We believe in freedom of worship. I don't care if you're a Hebrew, I don't care if you're a Christian, I don't care if you're a Seventh-day Adventist, a Jehovah's Witness, a Muslim. It makes no difference to me. Your religion is only my concern to the extent that it interferes with your ability to struggle for African liberation. If your Christianity does not stop you from struggling for African liberation, I have no issue with your Christianity. If your Islam does not stop you from struggling for African liberation, I have no issue with your Islam. If you being a Jehovah's Witness or a Methodist or an Episcopalian doesn't stop you from struggling for African liberation, I have no issue with you. But on the flip side, if you say you cannot struggle for African liberation because your God doesn't allow you to see color, we have a problem. I can't struggle with you. If you tell me you can't work with other African people because they haven't been saved, or they haven't taken their shahada, or they haven't undergone a particular religious experience, if you say you have to be of my own belief in order for me to struggle with you, I have a problem because now your religion just became the enemy of African liberation. And let us be real clear. No weapon has been greater. No weapon has been used more against African people at home, which is Africa, and abroad in the diaspora than religion. It has been used to make us inferior. It has been used to brainwash us against who our true enemies are. It has been used to make us adopt a politically ridiculous, colorblind agenda? How can you afford to not see color when you've been victimized by your race your entire experience outside of the diaspora? Who benefits by African people not seeing color? Who benefits by you not putting African people first? Always ask yourself that question when somebody gives you any set of circumstances. Who benefits from this? When a European came into Africa, he had the Bible, we had all the resources. By the time he left, he controlled all the resources and we had the Bible. Napoleon Bonaparte, and I'm no fan of his, of course he lost in the Haitian Revolution to Toussaint L'Ouverture and Jean-Jacques Dessalines. And Napoleon said, religion is what keeps the poor man from killing the rich one. I'm not against religion, but your religion must be an instrument of liberation or it is a waste of time. I was raised Muslim and Christian, so I know all about the church, I know all about the masjid. And if I'm going to be plainly honest with you, there's no religion on the face of the earth that serves African liberation. And you cannot be a Pan-Africanist if you still got that white Jesus hanging up in your house, in your dorm room, in your car, or in your Bible. Because before we can liberate ourselves politically, before we can liberate ourselves economically, before we can liberate ourselves socially, before we can liberate ourselves culturally, we have to liberate ourselves psychologically. I want you to hear me well, Puerto Rican Africans. I want you to hear me well, American Africans. I want you to hear me well, all my Latino Africans, my continental Africans, my American Africans. There is no liberation for our race that does not begin with psychological liberation until you change the way that you think about yourself, your people, and your future. Until you change the way that you think about who we are, and what we must become, you change nothing else about us. Reparations is a hot topic right now, ain't it? Everybody's talking about reparations this like it's some new thing. Reparations grew out of the Pan-Africanist movement. It was Pan-Africanism that gave birth to reparations, not YouTube or the YouTube opportunists. It was Pan-Africanists who gave birth to reparations. But guess what? The U.S. government can give us $1 trillion. The French government can give us $1 trillion. The Italian government, the German government, the Belgian government, they can give us $1 trillion. But guess what? Without psychological liberation, I don't care how much money you get from the outside, until you change the dynamic in the inside, nothing else will change. That's why the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, who gave us the red, black, and green flag and the largest black movement in modern history, Mr. Garvey said, don't take the kinks out of your hair, black sister. Take the kinks out of your mind. I'm going to get to the weaves and perms later. Because we cannot expect little black girls to grow up with pride. We cannot expect little black girls to grow up with self-respect while adult black women imitate Caucasians. Now, some of you have naturally curly hair. No problem with that. Some of you have naturally straight hair. No problem with that. We got African brothers and sisters in New Guinea, Papua New Guinea, and the South Pacific. They're naturally blind, and they have naturally blue eyes. Some of our Puerto Rican African brothers and sisters got green and blue, and our Cuban brothers and sisters and Dominican brothers and sisters got green and blue. I got nieces and nephews who got green and blue eyes. So that's not the issue. If that's your natural color, so be it. But for those of you who have the original ancient skin color and the original ancient hair color and the original ancient hair texture and the original ancient phenotype of our great-great ancestors on the Nile Valley of Africa, why would you dare snuff that out? Why would you dare kill the greatness in your DNA? One of the greatest victories of white supremacy is that it made black people want to imitate their oppressor. And most of us now still want to imitate our oppressor. And every last one of you in here right now, I don't care if you speak English, Spanish, Portuguese. I don't care if you speak
he said Spanish
or Swahili. Every last one of you, after you graduate from Pace.
Oh, he didn't say. Oh, I'm surprised he didn't say Mexican. I'm surprised he said Puerto Rican. He didn't speak Puerto Rican or Mexican. You see on one of my videos, you see why I said that.
University, after you get your bachelor's and your master's and your doctorate, you are either going to be a benefit to African people or a detriment to African people. You will either be a plus for your people or you will be a minus. You will either be a freedom fighter for African people or you will be a part of the coonocracy. Some of you can't wait to join the coonocracy. Some of you go to sleep dreaming of being a coon. You can't wait for the white power structure to draft you and offer you a job to sell out your people. You got coons all over the world. You got Ghanaian coons, you got New York City coons, you got Puerto Rican coons. You got all kind of African people selling out their people around the world. But let me get back to what Pan-Africanism is. Point number one.
What white men call black people.
I will be authoring a book on the principles of Pan-Africanism because we need that. Number one, all African people are one family. All African people are one family. Whether you're in Puerto Rico speaking Spanish, whether you are in Senegal speaking Wolof, whether you in South Africa speaking Zulu, whether you are in Kenya speaking Maasai, whether you are in Brazil, the largest African community outside of the continent is Brazil. They speak Portuguese. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you got the straight hair or the curly hair or the nappy hair. Whether you got the blue, black, purple, beautiful skin of our ancient grand ancestors or whether you have light skin. Whether you are Muslim or Christian, whether you pledge allegiance to this flag or that flag, we are one African people. We are one African family. We are one African race. Now here's the kicker for Pan-Africanists. We identify as being African before anything else. Nothing supersedes your Africanity. You're never a Christian who happens to be an African. You're an African who happens to be a Christian. You're never a Muslim who happens to be an African. You're an African who happens to be a Muslim. You're never a Puerto Rican who happens to have some African DNA. You're an African who happens to be a Puerto Rican. Why? Africa existed before Jesus existed. Africa existed before Muhammad existed. Africa existed before the Dominican Republic existed. Africa existed before any country you pledge your loyalty to, any religion you belong to, any language you speak. Africa is older than that. Your race is the only thing you belong to that God chose for you. Everything else you belong to, you chose or your parents chose. You Christian, you love your religion, nothing wrong with that. But you can leave the church tomorrow. You Muslim, you love your religion, nothing wrong with that. You can leave the mosque tomorrow. Your fraternities, your sororities, you can leave them tomorrow. Your professional affiliations, you can leave them tomorrow. Your nationality, you can denounce it tomorrow. Your language, you can change it tomorrow. What is the one thing you belong to, chosen by God, fixed at birth, that you have no control over, and that is your Africanity. And that's why we identify as African family first. I'm giving you this because too many people walking around calling themselves Pan-Africanists who really are not. If you don't put the race first, you are not a Pan-Africanist. Pan-Africanism means all of us are one. So that means if you like to practice petty tribalism, if you like to put the American African above the Caribbean African, if you think you better because you're from America and somebody else is from Australia, that's not Pan-Africanism. You think you better because you light-skinned and somebody dark, that's not Pan-Africanism. You think you better because you belong to this religion and they belong to that religion, or your hair is straight and their hair is curly. Any tribalism in your blood prevents you from being a Pan-Africanist. That's a hypocrite. When I go to Africa, the first thing I tell my brothers and sisters, when I'm in Nigeria, I say, listen, I know we got issues here. There was a civil war between the Igbo and the Yoruba. I understand that. But when Dr. Umar is in Lagos, when Dr. Umar is in Port Harcourt, when Dr. Umar is in Enugu State, when I'm in Ogun State, we are all African people here. I don't care which family you come from. Islands, and I get the petty conflicts in there. I don't care if you Bahamas or Bermuda, while I'm here, we African. I don't care if you Jamaican or Haitian, while I'm here, we African. I don't care if you Dominican, Cuban, or Puerto Rican, while I'm here, we are African. And guess what? There was no benefit to slavery, but I will tell you this. Given that we are the diasporan African, which means we're mixed with the blood of every African nation on the continent, when we go back to Africa, we are the peacekeepers. See, when I sit at the table in Africa, they don't have to worry about whether I'm going to take the side of the Wolof or the side of the Mandingo. When I'm in the Caribbean islands, they don't have to worry about, is he going to side with the Puerto Ricans or the Dominicans? I'm mixed with everything, and as a result of that, I am impartial. They can trust me to facilitate that session. There's a benefit to being Pan-African. So number one, we identify as African. And let me say this. We are not racist. I want white people to get all the blessings God has in store for them. I want red people to get all the blessings God got in store for them. I want yellow people to get all the blessings God got in store for them. I want non-African brown people to get all the blessings God has in store for them. We are not interested in oppressing nobody, but we claim the continent of Africa for ourselves. And nobody in Africa who is not an African can be called so. If you are in Africa and you are not an African, you are either an invader, a colonizer, or the descendant of one. No Chinese can call himself African. No Arab can call himself African. No East Indian can call himself African. Why? Because Africa is the land of black African people. I can't go to China and call myself Chinese. So why can he come in Africa and call himself an African? I can't go to East India and call myself an Indian. So why can they come to Africa and call themselves Africans? And let us be clear. The only reason why the other human races want to come into Africa and claim that they African too is so they receive no opposition as they go about the continent pillaging resources and stealing the mineral wealth of Mother Africa. Let us be very clear about that. I've been to China. China is very racist against African people. Very racist against African people. But yet they'll come into Africa and say, I'm an African. No, you're not. You are an opportunist. You have to learn how to think deeply and politically, because to be a Pan-Africanist, you have to be what? A statesman, a stateswoman for the African race. Yes, you should be involved in the politics of New York if you're a New Yorker. Yes, you should be involved in the politics of Texas if you are a Texan. Yes, you should be involved in the politics of California if you're a Californian. Yes, you should be involved in the politics of Puerto Rico if you're a Puerto Rican. Yes, you should be involved in the politics of Haiti if you're Haitian. But on top of your national loyalty must be your racial consciousness. See, let me explain something to y'all. White people don't all get along. I know this because I work with them. Some Jews think they're better than Italians. Some Italians think they're better than the Irish. Some Irish think they're better than the Greeks. Some Greeks think they're better than the Anglo-Saxons. But when it comes to doing what? Making sure white folks control the economics of the planet, they stop fighting long enough to keep raping Africa, and then they go back to fighting after they take care of the business of the white race. Pakistanis don't always get along with the Indians. They got issues, but when it comes to the best interests of the Indian people, they work it out. Iraqis don't necessarily like the Kuwaitis. The Kuwaitis don't necessarily like the Iranians. But guess what? When it comes to the best interests of the Arab people, they stop the petty beef until they take care of the business of the race. Chinese don't necessarily like Japanese, and Japanese don't necessarily like Cambodians, and Cambodians don't necessarily get along with the Vietnamese. But when it comes to the best interests of Asian people, they stop the fighting long enough to take care of the business of the Asian race. There's only one race on the planet who can't stop fighting long enough to get their act together, and that's us, African people. The most honorable Marcus Garvey said we were cursed with petty differences. If black people don't have a reason to fight, we'll make one up. Skin color, language, education, light skin, dark skin, Muslim, Christian, curly hair, straight hair, Spanish, English, and a white power structure laughing at all of us. Because everybody needs to understand this, and this is my second point of Pan-Africanism. And Brother Garfield, keep me posted on the time. I'm going to keep going to give me like a 10-minute, because I'll catch the African Holy Ghost real quick.
I kid you not. 2 weeks into it, everything transformed. Right out the gate, I had my biggest...
That's blasphemous, isn't it? Well, you think that was something. Let's go to Anton Daniels' channel. And I'm again, I don't understand why some black women support Umar Johnson. Because this is what he says about black women. Watch this.
Shout out to the good Dr. Umar Johnson. What did he call them? What did he call the white? What did he call the black women? Something sisters. Snow sisters. Umar Johnson is addressing snow sisters. I almost forgot about having a conversation about Umar Johnson. You know what a snow sister is? We're not going to end this without having Umar Johnson come to the front of the congregation. I love reacting to Umar Johnson. He's one of my favorite people. You know what a snow sister is, Rita? Yeah, you know what a snow sister is? No, a snow sister is, this is a new term that I've developed from Umar Johnson. A snow sister is a black woman that wants to look and dress and have her hair like a white woman. So she not natural, right? She don't have her natural hair, or she got her natural hair straightened, or she got makeup and stuff, all that stuff like a white girl or whatever. He calling them snow sisters now. It's sisters that want to be snow bunnies. Let me go ahead and play this.
How the beautiful African queens doing today? Where my natural sisters at? Where my natural sisters at? We need you for the Black Queens Forever, Snow Bunnies Never music video.
What?
So apparently, Umar Johnson is embracing all of black culture, and he's shooting a music video. It's called Black Queens Forever, Snow Bunnies Never. Oh my God, I love this guy. I think that Umar Johnson could quite possibly be the most entertaining person on the face of the earth. I remember when I first discovered Umar Johnson, I thought that this guy had it. I honestly, I was like, this guy is like, he's a psychologist. He's going against the alphabet community. He's adding value to people's life. He's saying that he's going to build a school. Man, Umar Johnson is hilarious. Umar Johnson is hilarious. I gotta play this.
We need you for the Black Queens Forever, Snow Bunnies Never music video. You must be all natural. No straightening comb either, ladies. Even if the hair is all yours, it must be in its natural state. If you got a straightening comb, that don't count. If you got a straightening comb, that don't count. If you got a straightening comb, that don't count. All natural queens for the Black Queens Forever, Snow Bunnies Never music video. All natural queens for the Black Queens Forever, Snow Bunnies Never music video. Documentary is coming out, docu-series. Natural makeup. I don't want you painted up like a clown for my video. This is not no damn hoochie mama video. If you got anything fake, you cannot be in the video. If there's anything on your body, on your face, anything fake, you cannot be in the video. This is for all natural sisters only. Natural hair, natural body. Natural hair, natural body. I love it.
Now, this is one thing that I'm wondering. How old is Umar Johnson?
48.
I'm about to look it up, bro.
48. So I'll be 49 years old.
Age. Umar Johnson is 48 years old, according to Google. August 21st, 1974. He gonna be 49 years old. 49 years old. Now here's my question.
Do you ever feel afraid to do the things you know you should do, but you don't? Hey, it's...
Question. Here's my question. Do you think, because I'm not for the natural, like, you know me, I'm not interested. I think that there needs to be a level of decorum, and that anything in this extreme is bad. But I'm not for, I don't mind whether you're natural or whether you wear makeup. I just don't want it to be extreme, right? Nothing crazy. I don't want you to look like a completely different person. But I'm wondering, do you think that Umar Johnson has dyed his beard or his hair? At 48 years old, do you think that Umar Johnson is completely still black on black with his beard?
Probably.
Because the question becomes, what is natural? What is natural, right? Is natural just the straightening? Is it the makeup? Is it the dye or whatever like that? I'm wondering, is he completely not, or is it just applying to the sisters? Because I don't know any man that's above 40 that has zero gray.
Nope, I got a little in here.
Zero gray.
I got a little gray in here.
Just curious. Just a question.
All black women, but I'm trying to project the authentically African sister. I love all black women, but in this music video, we are trying to project the authentically African sister, the natural African sister, the black woman who is not ashamed to be what God made her. I'm tired of the artificiality. Stop imitating the damn snow bunny. Brothers and sisters.
Why did he say it 3 times?
Right.
But I will say though, I think that he does has a point, right? In that there's an extreme that's happening. I mean, the baby hairs is baby hairing. The baby hairs is all the way down here. I am tired of seeing these chicks.
Why do you keep supporting this dude?
Shapes, because they got these bad BBLs. The extreme surgeries is outlandish. All jokes aside, I can understand the sentiment of what he's saying, right? And that I don't think that is wild. Now, the idea of shooting a black natural, whatever, forever, snow bunnies never is hilarious to me. But that's just a Western culture thing. I think that black women in general is...
They don't want to change their hair color.
Black women is on the extreme side of it. I think that if you look at a lot of Arabic women, and a lot of women from other cultures, and white women too,
right?
You look at those Kardashians, they all look like ants now. All women look like ants. They all look like...
They all wear different color hair.
They got their huge booty, really, really teeny waist, and the tops is huge, and they all look like ants now. And they willing to spend an egregious amount of money. I think that he does got a point. I think that the extremities make it a problem, and so I'm with it. The music video, I'm not so sure, but he's saying that they want to look like snow bunnies. I would say that white women is trying to look like black women. Black women is trying to look like... They all the same. They taking what we think. Everybody want a black woman body, a traditional black woman body, right?
That's true.
But then they want European hair. And so what you see happen in this society is that people are picking and choosing, and they saying, I want this, and I want this from you, and this from you. And then they going from there. White women want to be tan, black women want to be lighter. Nobody wants to actually be whatever it was that they started off in the first place.
That's true.
Hair color, it better not be obvious, and it better not be European. Hair color, it better not be... I don't want no blue and orange. I said natural. Why don't we understand the word natural? Can somebody please give a definition of natural? Because I don't think the sisters is understanding. We have so much artificiality in the black community that we don't even understand what the word natural means anymore. We don't even understand what the word natural means anymore.
He's right. I mean, he's 100% right. We don't understand what natural.
You see the other video, he had no problem with on the other
had this
video.
conversation on Fight Club, and if you look at any group of people, when you had this conversation, most people can't give you a definition of what natural is. Some people will say, well, this is my real hair. Some people will say, well, it can't just be your real hair. It has to not be straightened, or it can't have any chemicals in it. Some people say, well, it can be your real hair, but it can't have any color in it. Some people will say, well, it's okay for you to wear makeup, just not a lot of it. A lot of guys will say, well, I don't want no girl that don't wear no makeup, and then they don't even know that their girl was wearing makeup. She just wearing naturally looking makeup. Other guys will say, well, I don't want a chick that don't want no makeup, and I want her to look natural, but then the chick that he fucking on is, you know, she look like a Kardashian, and her lips is inflated, and all of this other type of stuff. A lot of guys can't even tell the difference between a guy that's dressing up as a girl, shout out to the lady boys out there in Thailand, and a chick that's natural, right? And so a lot of people is pretending.
Folks, it's time to sound the alarm bells. The crisis that we
Did he
warned
say
you
shut up,
about
lady
is
boy?
right now, and it's far worse than we could have ever imagined. 3 banks have already...
Lady boys out there in Thailand, and a chick that's natural, right? And so a lot of people is pretending like they know, and there's no true definition of what natural is, just like, in my opinion, there's no true definition of what pro-black is. So...
He said no blind. Of course not. Why do I want a blind head? I tell you what I'm gonna do.
Yo, Umar Johnson is hilarious. Umar Johnson is hilarious, yo. You can't tell me that this guy... You know what the funniest part about this whole video is? I'm reading Super Chat shortly. The funniest part about this video is not only that Umar Johnson is hilarious, but he's trying to not offend his female audience. It is so hard for him to have this conversation with women, because I would imagine, I don't know for sure, but I would imagine that women would probably be his largest donor base. It's similar to the church, right? If you go into any church, there's always going to naturally be, especially black church, it's going to be way more women than it is men. And so he don't want to offend his core base, and so he just kind of got, whereas he would be telling the guys that they get 50,000 lashes, the women, he just going to try to laugh it off like it's no big deal. Let me back up a little bit.
Speciality in the black community that we don't even understand what the word natural means anymore. We don't even understand what the word natural means anymore. He said no blind. Of course not. Why do I want a blind head? I tell you what I'm gonna do. Come to my music video with some fake ass hair or some colored hair, I'm gonna cut the shit off. Oh yes. See, we got the whips for the lashes, but we got the scissors for the sisters who don't know what natural means. Show up at my video shoot with some fake ass hair, some perm, some straightened hair. I'm cutting the shit off. See, y'all don't understand. So I gotta bring out the Ogun in me. The Ogun in me. I'ma just cut it off. I'ma just walk up to you and start cutting your hair off. Okay? Stop imitating the bunny. Hashtag stop imitating the bunny.
You support him. That's your man. That's your king.
What? Now you really gonna get...
That's your king.
Omar, I know your cash apps drama. He said, you show up, and you showing up looking like one of the snow bunnies. If you show up looking like a snow bunny, he said no fake locks. He said no
That's your
fake
king,
locks.
black women.
You know what they call them? Ain't they called faux locks? Faux locks? He said no fake locks. Now you know these sisters is gonna feel some type of way. What if they got alopecia?
Right.
Ain't alopecia like the hair?
Right.
Whatever. What if they got alopecia?
Right.
Show up with a weave, I'm cutting them. Show up with a perm, I'm gonna have these scissors at the video shoot. Okay? You don't have to be voluptuous. You can be petite. You can be full-figured. It's all black women. All black women.
This is crazy.
Braids. What do y'all think? Should we allow braids?
Watch this.
Should we allow braids? I don't think so. I think we're going all natural. I think we're going all natural. I don't think I'm allowing braids for this.
Well, you know that ain't gonna work out with no black women. A lot of black women
If you got
with braids.
that means you
That
have
ain't gonna
something
work
that's
out.
unnatural in your hair.
Mm-mm.
If you have braids, you have something that's unnatural in your hair? I don't understand. If you have braids, you have something that's unnatural in your hair? How?
Coming out of his own mouth.
How?
Ain't nobody
If
making
you
this
have
up.
braids, you have something that's unnatural in your hair. How is that possible? So, hold on, ladies. Y'all got to give me some insight in here. If you have braids, then is it something unnatural in your hair? Does Umar Johnson know what he's even talking about right now? I
Y'all
don't
support
understand.
him. Y'all support him.
I'm confused. Q said braids is usually fake hair. But braids don't have to necessarily be fake hair.
No.
Right?
No.
Quentin said because it's weave, duh. Quentin, so you telling me that women can't get braids without it being fake hair? Well, extensions is different. Alright, so this is what I'm wondering. For any guy, I wouldn't usually do this, but I'm just curious. I'm about to drop the link in the chat. For any guy that has ever seen a woman and said, nope, I'm not busting her down because she has extensions in her hair, let me know. For any guy, I'm only dropping the link in the chat once. For any guy that has ever seen a woman and said, nope, I'm not busting her down because she got extensions in her hair, let.
Oh my goodness. I tell you, man. Let's go back. So, you think that's something? Let's go back to the video.
The clock is ticking. We have less than
Let's go back to the video.
Ohio's Constitution from a radical
Curly hair, straight hair, Spanish, English, and a white power structure laughing at all of us. Because everybody needs to understand this, and this is my second point of Pan-Africanism. And Brother Garfield, keep me posted on the time. I'm going to keep going. Give me like a 10-minute, because I'll catch the African Holy Ghost real quick. The
You
second
can leave the
point,
Holy Spirit out of
you
that.
better get this. Because people always ask the question, why are we worried about Africa? We got problems in New York City. Why am I worried about Africa? I got problems in the Dominican Republic. What am I worried about Africa for? I got problems in Venezuela. The black community in Colombia got problems. Panama blacks got big problems. We got Africans in Mexico, big problems. Why am I worried about Africa for? 20,000 miles away. What good is that for me? You know why? Because as Africa goes, so goes all African people. I've been all over the world, brothers and sisters. And guess what I've learned? Wherever I go, European Jews are respected. Wherever I go, European Jews got power. You know why? Because Israel is respected and Israel got power. Wherever I go, Chinese are respected. Chinese are in an economic power position. Chinese are always upheld and treated with respect and reverence. You know why? Because China is powerful. Why do East Indians get respect around the world? Because India is powerful. And guess what? Wherever you go in the world, African people are disrespected and ignored even in Africa. Let me ask you a question. Can you name a single black economy run by black people on the planet Earth? I'm going to ask you one more time. Can you name a single country, Africa, Central or South America,
Bermuda.
anywhere in the Caribbean, where we
Bermuda.
are in control of our own economics? Anybody? There's not one. There's not one. There is no black economy on earth ran by black people. And there is is no liberation for African people until we get control of our economics. Black people in America, we a $2 trillion economy. We're the richest group of Africans in the world in terms of income. The richest. But can I ask you a question? Do we own anything? Where is our infrastructure? Where are our institutions? We keep talking about Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street. But no city in America do I find African people owning their own hospital, their own bank, their own supermarket, and their own school. Those are the 4 essential institutions. Independent black hospital, independent black bank. You need a hospital to save the people, a bank to invest in the people, supermarket to feed the people, and a school to teach the people. Why we ain't got that? There's a Chinatown in damn near every major city. You got little Vietnam, little Cambodia, little Italy. Where's little Africa? You know why we ain't got it? Because something slavery did to the black man and woman. I don't care if your ancestors was enslaved in Cuba. I don't care if your ancestors was enslaved in Brazil, enslaved in North Philadelphia. Slavery stole from African people the desire. And I want you young people to hear me, because you are the generation that is supposed to fix this. Slavery stole from African people the natural, God-given desire to control your own destiny. Do you realize we're the only people not concerned about controlling our own community? We're the only people not concerned about controlling our own destiny. As soon as the Chinese show up on the shores of America, soon as an Arab shows up on the shores of America, soon as an East Indian shows up on the shores of America, they build in their own communities. They're looking for a piece of the city to call their own shops, their own businesses, their own import, export, and all we want to do is look good. Half y'all in here, soon as you get your student loan check, you in New York City shopping because you want to look good. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't care if you're from Belize or the Bronx. You want to look good. Looking good is more important than having power. African people, we in pursuit of money. White people in pursuit of power. Father Rothschild said, what? Give me control over people's money. I cannot who makes the laws. Give me control over people's money. I cannot who makes the laws. We chasing money. Money don't make a difference. Look at all the black entertainers we got. Look at all the athletes and entertainers we got. All that money, and don't use none of it for the benefit of African people. They might give out some turkeys for Thanksgiving. Who the hell need another turkey? You worth $500 million, and the best you can do for the black community is some stale-ass turkeys, some sneakers, another playground dedication. That ain't what we need. We need institutions and industries, brothers and sisters. So number 2, as Africa goes, so goes all African people. You will never be respected. I don't care where you move to in this world until Africa is respected. That's why Africa matters. You want to know why black folks get killed by the police in broad daylight and nothing happens? Who gonna speak up for you? What African country gonna stand up and say the next time you kill one of mine in your country, don't come over here looking for no gas? Next time you kill one of mine in your country, don't come over here looking for no oil. Next time you kill one of mine in your country, don't come over here looking for no diamonds or no coltan. Next time you kill one of mine in your country, you ain't getting another piece of mineral from under my soil. Because remember, the African continent is the only continent that can survive without any other continent. No other continent can survive without Africa. There is no military without Africa. There's no atomic bombs without Africa. There's no cell phone or no internet without Africa. The most essential minerals necessary for the military and technological age are under the ground in Africa.
That's true. Yeah, that part's true.
Everybody talking about Haiti and why America keep on destabilizing Haiti. You know why America keep on destabilizing Haiti? Because they have a mineral. And I'm forgetting the name of the mineral. There's only 2 countries in the world that has the mineral. Haiti is one of them, and Haiti has the most of it. They have the purest form of this mineral. And this is a mineral, a metal that can withstand heat, a 1,000 times longer than any other metal in the world. And the reason America needs to keep Haiti destabilized is to make sure no other country can come in, strike a deal with Haiti, and get some of that metal, which would make them a military giant overnight. Every last one of you should be reading a newspaper a day. You should be reading a global newspaper a month. Understand your world so you can decide on how you're going to set your place in it. It's not just about graduating from college and getting a job. That's not why you just here for that. Your ancestors didn't send you here to get a job. You were sent to earth to make a difference. How are you going to do that? As Africa goes, so goes the world. Until we make Africa strong enough to look out for us, police gonna keep on killing black folks. There's Chinese gangs. We got Chinese gangs in Philly. They kill each other too. I ain't seen the police kill a Chinese gang member yet because they know there's going to be repercussions from China. That hurricane that hit Puerto Rico that the United States of America took so long to respond to, they would have never took that long to respond to that hurricane or the Haitian earthquake if they were being pressured by African countries. But then you get Negroes who say, Africa don't do nothing for me. Well, she can't, because you have to make us strong enough to look out for you. We got the money, Africa got the resources, we got to marry them together. We got the income, Africa got the resources, we got to marry them together. But the problem with too many of us, all we want to do is become a better version of a white man. Imitation is your priority. You want to imitate people. And no disrespect to the white women in the room. I don't have a problem with no white women. I respect all women no matter what the color. But you young black men in here, don't call yourself a Pan-Africanist and you're not dating an African woman. You are a sell-out. I'm a Pan-Africanist. No, you're not. You're a coon. You think it's a coincidence that black men date outside the race more than all other men put together? You think it's a coincidence young men in college date outside the race? Black men in college and in the world date outside the race more than any other man. That's because of slavery and self-hatred. That's because of slavery and self-hatred. Marriage is a business, y'all. Marriage is a business. Kobe Bryant is with the ancestors now. And the reason Kobe Bryant is with the ancestors now is because Kobe Bryant was about to start his own professional basketball league headquartered in China. The American white power structure couldn't allow that. China is America's #1 competitor. They couldn't have Kobe Bryant going to China, starting a professional basketball league, competing with the American league. Kobe Bryant was also ending his contract with Nike, and he was starting his own player-owned sneaker brand. America couldn't let Kobe come up with another sneaker brand that would compete with the #1 sneaker brand in America. That's why the helicopter went down. Kobe Bryant was murdered. It was not an accident. And they made LeBron James wear his number on his sneakers the night before while LeBron James played in Kobe Bryant's hometown of Philadelphia. Why is Michael Jackson dead? Michael Jackson is dead because he owned half of Sony Records. He owned all of the Beatles catalog, a portion of Elvis's music, and they wanted the Beatles music back. Michael Jackson wouldn't sell it to him. Michael Jackson was in negotiations to purchase Marvel Studios, brothers and sisters. Marvel. That's Black Panther. That's Xfinity Wars. Michael Jackson was going to buy it up. And soon when Michael Jackson tried to buy Marvel Studios, he got hit with the pedophilia accusations. Why is Whitney Houston dead? Whitney Houston is dead because Whitney Houston was about to order an audit on her earnings, her royalties. She also wanted her masters back in her publishing. So she died of a so-called drowning in the tub. Same way Jimi Hendrix died, best guitar player in the history of mankind, and he was murdered because his agent was a secret MI6 officer for British intelligence, and Jimi Hendrix was going to finance the Black Panther Party, so they had to kill him. And Sam Cooke had to die. First black man to own his own masters in the music industry. He was close friends with Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, and Dr. King, and he told Dr. King and Malcolm X that once they come together and stop fighting, Sam Cooke was going to finance the civil rights movement himself. R. Kelly might very well be guilty of the accusations. I don't know. I wasn't there. But that's not why he's in jail. R. Kelly is in jail because a certain music company, who I'm not going to mention right now, started stealing R. Kelly's masters and playing his unpublished music without his permission. And once R. Kelly started questioning getting his masters back and control of his publishing, he ends up in jail for a crime he's been committing since he was a teenager. Why was Bill Cosby in jail? Bill Cosby was in jail because Bill Cosby, him and his wife Camille, owned a home in Massachusetts under which there was some oil. And the second largest oil company in the world wanted to drill under the home of Bill and Camille Cosby in Massachusetts. And when Bill and Camille Cosby said, "You're not drilling under this house,"
some of this information he's saying, I would check myself, and because we don't really, some information he was saying is true, but some information we don't know unless you check out for yourself.
And they organized all their neighbors so they wouldn't let none of them drill. Next thing you know, he gets accused of 50 old women who say he molested them 30, 40 years ago. Now, I don't trivialize sexual violence against women, but guess what? There's not a white woman on the planet Earth who gets sexually abused by a black man in his prime. In the 1970s, Bill Cosby was the #1 black television personality in the world. He's the first black man to have his own miniseries on television. The Cosby Show is the #1 ranked black sitcom of all time. And Bill Cosby sexually harassed you in 1970 when you was young and beautiful, but you wait till you old and nasty in your 50s and 60s before you tell somebody about it? Bill Cosby went to jail because he didn't want to give up the house so they can get the oil. Why am I bringing this up? I got to read and study, and you don't just take what people tell you to be true. Develop your own mindset. You ain't even got to take what I say to be true. Go and research it and find it out for yourself.
That's true.
What's the third principle of Pan-Africanism? We talked about we identify as being African first. We talked about as Africa goes, so goes all African people. The third, self-determination. You know what that means? Anything we do by ourselves and for ourselves. There is no non-African participation in our movements. There is no non-African money in our organizations. You know why black people haven't made more progress in this country since Dr. King's assassination 55 years ago? Because we've taken too much money from the government, too much money from the white philanthropic societies, too much money from white America. The hand that pays is the hand that rules. You'll never get free as long as your organizations are being financed by non-African people. That's why Marcus Garvey never took a penny from another race. There was once a white man in New York wanted to give Marcus Garvey a large donation. Marcus Garvey said, "Tell him to keep his money. What is to be done for us must be done by us." Some of y'all know I got a school I'm building in Wilmington, Delaware. Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. First school in the history of America built exclusively by the African diaspora. We will have our grand opening sometime this summer. All of you are invited. First school in the history of this country built with donations from every African community in the world. Never done before. And some people will come to me, "Dr. Umar, I can help you get some COVID grants. I can help you get some Joe Biden money. I can help you get some Walmart donations." For what? If Walmart opens my school, Walmart owns it. If the U.S. government finances my school, the U.S. government owns it. People say, "Why don't you open up a charter school, Dr. Umar? You used to be a charter school principal." Yeah, I used to be a charter school principal, and I used to be a charter school vice principal, and I don't want to be no charter school principal. You know why? Because charter schools are ran by the state, controlled by the state, and when they have a problem with you, they will sabotage you, accuse you of financial mismanagement, low test scores, and shut you down. The school that we own in Delaware was a black charter school, and they sabotaged the founder and put him out of business. It might be harder to do it on your own, brothers and sisters, but you better learn that that's the best way to get it done. Don't you start taking money from other groups. The more money you take, the more indebted to them you are. Why do you think Africa's still in the position she in with all the aid Africa gets? People say Africans must not know how to solve their problems because America been pumping money. France been pumping money. The UK been pumping money. Belgium been pumping money. The UN been pumping money. The World Bank been pumping money. The International Monetary Fund been America's still messed up with all the resources she got. You know why? Because whenever they give Africa a loan, whenever they give a Caribbean island a loan, whenever they give a Central or South American African country a loan, they put 3 requirements with that loan. Requirement number 1, 1,000% interest or more. You need $5 million. You want to build schools in Rwanda. She wants $5 million. She's the president of Rwanda. And guess what America says? I'm going to give you $5 million, but I'm going to charge you 1,000% on every dollar. How long would it take Rwanda to pay back that loan? You'll be paying it back for the next 100 years. This is how they keep Africa in debt, by exploiting them with the interest rates. Number 2, 2 minutes. Number 2, they'll tell Africa, you have to have a free market economy. I need y'all to understand this. This is real important. I'm going to be quiet because I know we got a break and then we got the Q&A. Y'all be able to ask me anything you want. Second thing they do is they demand that African countries participate in the free market economy. You know what that means? You're the president of Senegal. In Senegal, y'all have your own salt. You don't need Morton salt. You don't need Whole Food salt. You don't want nobody selling salt in Senegal because Senegal got your own salt. You're the president of Ghana. Y'all got palm oil. You don't need Crisco oil. You don't need canola oil. Y'all got your own oil. But guess what America going to tell you? Guess what France going to tell you? Guess what Belgium going to tell you? They're going to say, we know you got your own salt, but because I gave you $5 million to build some schools, you have to let all the American salt companies come into your country and compete with your homegrown salt company. So let me ask you all a question. If she has her own salt, but she can't protect her salt market, America says as a consequence of the loan, you got to let all America's salt companies come into your country. What do you think happens to your salt industry within 5 years? Sabotaged and shut down. You got your own palm oil. What happens to your homegrown palm oil industry after 5 years when you got to compete with all the American, British, French, or Italian oil companies? You be sabotaged and shut down. This is why African countries, Caribbean countries, Central and South American countries are importing food that they grow themselves. Why are you importing tea if you grow tea? Why are you importing chicken if you can raise your own chicken? Why are you importing things that you can make yourself? Because the European countries of the world sabotage Africa's growth. I want to close with this. Every day I make around $10,000.
Okay, I'm going to end the video with this. First of all, everything takes time. There are some black banks in America, and that even some black banks that come from Nigeria have brought in. So it's a black bank is coming up. Everything takes time. But yet you're in a country that it has to be FDC regulated. That's number one thing. Number two thing. For his school is concerned, he's been collecting donations since 2009, and people been asking, where is half of? If all the money why haven't the whole building be restored? Why did you put it in an area where the contamination is kind of high? The neighborhood is not so good in Delaware. You have to have insurance. You still got to go by the law of the land. You still got to have continue to stay up on your taxes. People have proven that. So you got to all get up. Yeah, it sounds good, and it's that what somebody said is true. It's true, but everything takes time to lay a foundation of any community. Everything takes time, and this is what he might have made some good solid points, but as far as building up their own schools, there's some people doing it here. It may not be in mass numbers, but they're doing it, and they're covering all the red tape so they won't be shut down by the state. He don't mention about that. Number one, they go ahead and do it, and the kids is already going to school. he's been over a decade talking about this, but there's been a decade of kids that started when he first announced it, and here's a decade later, he still haven't completely opened it. So it's been like a decade of children from the time he said it to it is now. So he talked about nation building, but he has collected some off of the nations, and everything has to work within reason. And you can't just it's a hope when it comes to country import and business like that. They have their own reasons. They have their own realistic expectation. And even though it sounds good, it means good, but until you get in that top position of a leader in a country, you can't say that. You don't know what the opposition is. You can sound all African and everything, but do you have your own military? Do you have your own system? And I mean everything that some countries are. That's how they was able to do it. Like, and it's run by the military without having to find someone be corrupted by some outside government. Yeah, if someone stood on that and cover every phases like these other countries have. Yeah, and there are probably some black countries, but they're not doing that at a higher level than your Western countries. But they can. So it's easy to say, and some of the things, ladies and gentlemen, certain things, you just, like he said, look it up and find out for yourself. Don't just spit off something if you don't have facts. And they even say that on social media, you make some incorrect things, you can get your channel shut down. You can get hit with copyright strikes for spreading misinformation. So if you, whatever he's saying, when it comes to the people, what happened to the different famous, there's some truth that some famous people did later on it happened to, but some things we don't know completely. So another thing, if you go, you know, as far as black, but there are black women are marrying other men too, other races of men too. African women marry British and European men. There are black American women marrying European, Spanish men here in America. It may not be a higher number, but trust me, I live in Ohio. I see plenty of black women with other races marrying and dating other races of men. Not some in their 40s, some in their 50s, some in their 20s. And this is this expectation. You too focus on the men, but black women, even in college, date other races of men. And that's if you go into a regular rock club, or you'll see a handful, a dozen black women with white boyfriends on their arms. So let's not go there. Number 3 thing. This is fact. You can see it yourself. And one thing, why you have to be so petty about that, about the braids thing? Why are you so concerned about that? About how the woman wear her hair? That sounds like that's some feminine trait. As far as men, why a man? If you have your own preference, is one thing. But to sit down there and tell a whole group of women that's not your girlfriend, it's not your wife, what is that concerning to you? And you see why he's single, right? You see why, even though he has children from a relationship, why they didn't last. Because who wants to be with a narcissist? He has a narcissist personality. He gonna command and demand whatever. When you ain't got your own set up. When you got your own and you got your own set up, then maybe women will take and listen to you. When you got your own place and you making good money, women will listen to you. Like one time with O'Shea Juicy say, maybe and they'll listen to you, but they're not gonna give you no mind. They'll just take you as a joke. And he say all the right things, but his actions don't say otherwise. I mean, just really sit down and examine what a person say. Why are you worried about how women wear their hair? Well, a woman wear hair. That's her own hair. Black women, like any other woman, gonna do what they're gonna do, and they gonna wear their hair. They're not the only one that wear their hair. Put some stuff in their hair. There's white women that put stuff in their hair. There's Spanish women that color up their hair. There's African women that I've seen color up their hair. Why are we so concerned about a woman? And they might not be attracted to you. I mean, be honest. You're still halfway attractive. But yeah. I mean, is that my preference? No, but hey. But to tell a grown person what to do with their body, I don't agree with that. If you don't like it, but if they support the cause, what difference does it make? That's why he haven't succeeded and completely opened up the whole school, because he make nonsense stuff like that. I think there are some black people that really do, but it's like, I'm not giving no money to no narcissist, whatever, just to inflate his ego. That's what it is. I think there would be more black people that would support him. I think it might be some more celebrity that would support him if he was for real, really real, and not say anything and use common sense. Don't say anything just because that comes off the top and not really think about that. It might be a celebrity that maybe strong to be pro-black, and probably black. There are some out there, but they ain't not gonna fund his foolishness. I'm just saying. I don't know. We don't know how all some black athletes feel. Not all of them think that way. Not because, and they probably heard some of the things he said online. And this man's a fool. That's what the ones that got the money. The ones that can sit up there and can drop a check, $100,000 check, like it's nothing. But they know bullshit. I mean, these people out there that know people, like one man I seen on there was Tony the Closer. He knows some people. He used to be in the NFL. But I wonder if he heard of Umar Johnson, what his rationale would think about that. He's a strong, proud black man. Opinionated black man, but he ain't gonna support something like that because it's the foolishness. I'm just saying, and see this I'm showing you the two bird. Yeah, he speaks some truth, but look what look when you really hear the person, it's like, damn, it's foolishness. That's why it's hard to take it seriously. He wants to be in that bracket so bad. He's trying to be like a Marcus Garvey, but he's going about it the wrong way. He's trying to be like him because that's why he always gets attached to himself to different events. But you see for yourself, what person gonna support that? Even if what celebrity, what money going to support it? You sit up there talking all these ball players, these football players. They date white women. They got all this money. And they go into the white man. They're like, not every black player might not think like that. But if the ones that did, you just screwed it up with your own mouth by you just accusing somebody you don't know. You sit down and talk with them, and they care about their children. And again, some black women support him too. But he's talking about we can't have braids in your hair. But don't worry, they're gonna keep supporting them. Trust me. because and then he used racial terms that was back in the 30s, calling black people coons. So he's spreading race terminology from the white supremacists on other people, but you're a proud black man. Wow. I mean, I don't ever recall Martin Luther King. I don't think Marcus Garvey even said some stupid shit like that, calling another black man a coonery and stuff like that. I don't even think Malcolm X did. But, and that's another reason why people, they take him a grain of salt. That's why he don't have the support that he do, because his own mouth, his own arrogance. There's probably something that do that would take it to another level of, yeah, we can build it as a community, but you keep putting the people down. And they trying to. There's some black people that's trying to, but there's a process. You just can't say something. It's a process. It's red tape, and it's a bigger system than any of us can imagine. And you got to get around them 7 families for one thing. Does Umar knows that? Because they run the world. That's the reality. They control governments, take governments down, wreck entire economies. Does he understand that? Not. And that's a fact. Go. You can look at who the 7 families that run the whole planet in organizations. Just that's a fact. That's true. No matter what part of the world you go to, they got more money than the Saudis and anything else you could even imagine. But see, he don't think about that. But it's easy spitting off things that you don't. There's some things you don't know. There's some things at the top, and if they find out that, well, he would not be on this planet no more if he knew who. But they don't take him serious because they say this man's a fool. But if you was a threat, you wouldn't be on this planet. Because some of the things he said, because they know. That's a fact. So that's the reason why I think that there are some black people that will, and they're going in small pockets. They do it at one. It's like what Go Black say. You got built at one brick at a time. You have the big will. When it comes to the black community, is one brick at a time, and there's some black people are doing it. That's for about black, but they know it's one brick at a time, and there's some are doing it. But he's looking at the ones that don't do it about his standard. They may not. That's true. It's no. But there are some black banks that's rising. And maybe one of these days it might be a black hospital. We don't know. But everything takes time. And that's what it comes down to. In the meantime, just because I'm going to court to what your standard is, and if you had a standard, why does it take over a decade? So if you're gonna lead by something, why ain't no one happily married? Where's the nuclear foundation in your foundation? But yet you telling other men was something that you're not doing. You're not practicing your own self. Why you're not happily married with a family? And if you want to do polygyny, you have 2 wives. Why are you not doing that? But you tell. And another thing, why I'm worried about another black man with who he takes his relationship with in the world, as far as what women that God he decided to choose as his wife, and the ones that don't. Why does that bother you? Number 2, even if it was a black woman, why does that bother you? And why don't you concentrate on the ones that do, that are proud to be black and Pan-African, and stop dictating and using racially coded words from the 20s and 30s that describe black people just because they don't necessarily agree with your agenda, that you have to use that code. Strong black man didn't have to put down Umar, didn't have to call another black man out his name. You don't have to be a proud, strong black man all about black family to do that. Maybe you should think about that. Maybe you will get some more support. Just saying. And if some African leaders understand what your mindset was, even they would probably think you sound like a nut. You sound like a fool. Because realistically, it's a process. Even they know that. Anyway. Alright then, I don't mean to sound lectury, I won't go too long. But yeah, think about that. Think about what you see, the two sides of Umar. You decide that's and ladies, black women, you supporting that. A dictator, a narcissist. Keep giving your money to a narcissist. Alright then, till next time, be blessed.